Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're talking about Dr. Brain episode 6. This is the season finale of this phenomenal show on Apple TV. And what an ending that was. What a crazy ending. Like always, we're going to do a quick recap of the whole episode. Then I'm going to give you guys my rating for this episode, and then I'll give you guys my rating for the whole season of the show. We'll talk briefly about the whole season of the show, because I think you guys already know what my thoughts are on it. Like always, please make sure you like this video. If you guys end up enjoying it, please make sure to subscribe for new. And let's talk Dr. Brain. So episode 6 begins with Sawan still in his wife Jai's mind, right? So Jai ends up sacrificing herself so that it's easier for Sawan to obtain the information that he needs from her mind. So she sacrificed herself. Sawan goes into another brain sync with her. Now that she's dead, it's easier for him to get the information out. He learns that Jai never committed suicide, and that it was actually Secretary Yoon who attempted to kill her. So now Sawan also finds this drive that Jai used to have. On the drive, it has the location of where Do-yoon might be, the facility of where he's probably at. So with the help of Namil Hong, which is his associate, they both go to this facility, and they see that Dr. Myung has already started the surgery with all his little coworkers already in there. Really like old school sci-fi, this episode, and like this whole climactic conclusion. It felt very old school sci-fi, especially with the villain and his motives, which I thought was a little bit like less sophisticated for this type of show. Obviously you guys have been watching. Those first 5 or 4 episodes felt very sophisticated, and I was sort of wondering, like, what could Dr. Myung's motives actually be? And it was very like old school villainy, which felt sort of like cartoonish, but also like good. Like, I enjoy that old school sci-fi stuff, but I'm surprised they went that route since it feels very different. And this whole episode feels very different. It's very action packed, fastly paced, and it just feels very different. But it's also like an exciting climactic conclusion. So I'm not complaining at all. It's just something I wanted to point out. So now they're at this facility, and I'm gonna skip because there's a lot of dialogue here, right? And you guys have obviously already seen the episode. I don't need to recap everything. You guys know about that. Like, the whole grass scene felt very like Matrix, where he's in Dr. Myung's mind. Sawan wants to not have Do-yoon go through this brain sync. So he was like, put me in the brain sync. So Namil Hong is now taken over, and he goes to do a brain sync with Dr. Myung. It's like this fight ensues between them. Dr. Myung thinks that he's in control. Meanwhile, they're actually in Sawan's mind. So Sawan's able to save Do-yoon. That's like the bottom line. He's able to get Do-yoon out of there. And this is very climactic, this whole finish. The whole thing like explodes, like this big action thing, big explosion. But bottom line is that Sawan is actually able to save Do-yoon. So he saves Do-yoon. We're all led to believe this is a nice big happy ending, right? He goes to tuck in his son in the bed. He finally saved his son. It's all nice and happy. He leaves his son in his bedroom, and he looks to the right, and someone's standing there, and it's Dr. Myung standing up with like a cane. And he says, "Why did you take so long?" And Sawan goes to attack him, but Dr. Myung raises his hand, and he's able to like stop him. Like, that's like the noise it makes. Like, he's using some of the powers that we saw earlier on in this episode. And then the episode ends with just like his hand like that. And so I thought this was a great ending. I was like, holy shit. And I don't know if you guys have been watching these videos, but I said at one point, I was like, I don't think it's going to be a nice happy ending for this show. It just can't. Like, you knew it wasn't going to go that way. Once I saw he was tucking Do-yoon in his bed, I was like, there's got to be one more twist. There's got to be one more twist. So what does this ending actually mean, though? Obviously, that's not the real Dr. Myung, right? He's obviously some sort of like incarnation of Sawan's thoughts again, just like how we saw with Junkie and then Jai towards the end, right? But the real question is, did Dr. Myung actually able to stop Sawan in that last scene? Was he able to stop him in his tracks? Because that's kind of a different story, right? That means he's really powerful. That means he's able to maybe use those powers in the real world. Meanwhile, he's just supposed to be an incarnation in Sawan's mind. And this is also weird because Dr. Myung, when they brain synced, Dr. Myung was still alive, which was supposed to be like this dangerous thing that you weren't supposed to do. And you weren't supposed to be able to do it. So this is like uncharted territory for Sawan to have this incarnation of a living being, at least at the time of the brain sync. Dr. Myung probably died after the events of that brain sync, right? We saw him and he was still like sitting down, he was scraped up, looked like he was dying, right? And this Dr. Myung, he's obviously standing up with a cane, where in real life we saw him with a wheelchair. And like I said, this is a brain sync with a living being, at least at the time. So who knows like what this apparition of Dr. Myung's memory could actually do. Maybe it's more powerful than Junkie and not Junkie. I mean Kung Moo Lee. I meant to say Kung Moo Lee. That's the apparition. And Jai. So I don't know. And also, my first thing I thought of when I saw this was that I thought maybe he's in Dr. Myung's mind, when they brain synced, maybe he was still trapped in his own mind, in Dr. Myung's mind. But then I remembered that we were actually in Sawon's mind that whole time when we were in the grassy area. So then I was like, maybe he's trapped in his own mind, and everything we saw after was just in his own mind. But we saw scenes that didn't involve Sawon after the brain sync explosion stuff. So that he couldn't have made that up. So I think he's in the real world, and Dr. Myung is just a strong apparition. And so my rating for this episode is a 4 out of 5. I think it was a great conclusion. I thought it was really great. There were times where I thought it wasn't as good as those first 4 or 5 episodes, but it's also the conclusion. So all it did what it had to do in this episode, right? There wasn't any like loose threads we needed to like get wrapped up. Like everything, we just wanted to see him save Do-yoon, and that's all we could really ask for in this last episode, and that's what we got, right? So I think the show as a whole was phenomenal. I think the writing was impeccable. I think the characters were amazing. These South Korean dramas are they've always been good. I mean, Korean films have been phenomenal ever since Seven Samurai in the 50s, right? I feel like they really have really gotten only big mainstream wise in 2019 with Parasite. So to see more Korean films get more popular with American audiences, at least, I think it's really great. I think it's really special. You know, to see the success of Squid Game. We know that people are open to seeing these subtitled South Korean shows, and Dr. Brain is great. My overall rating for the show is a 4.4 out of 5. Like, if you want to round it up to like a 9 out of 10 in your own mind, if you use the 10 rating system. But like I said, it was great. I don't know if we're gonna get a season 2. I know the creators haven't said if they're gonna do a season 2 or not. Honestly, I mean, I would love a season 2. I would love it, but I don't want it to be forced. Like, if they don't have a plan and they just had this and they wanted it to be like this, I don't want them to force a season 2. I know the creator, the director of this show, or at least a couple episodes, I forget the director's name, he already has another project, another movie that he's working on with the main dad from Parasite. I just saw that. So if he's just too busy right now and he's like, Dr. Brain season 2 is just not something I can do right now, I'd be like, okay, because I think this show is already good enough with these 6 episodes. And if this is all we ever got, I think that's fine. I think it was so good that I don't need anything else. Like, I'm okay with this crazy ending, just because the writing was so good and those 6 episodes were phenomenal that you could recommend this to someone. You know, it's not a canceled thing if it doesn't continue. Like, it could end right here and still be a great show. So like I always say, I think this was one of the best shows I've seen on Apple TV. There are a couple of Apple TV things I still need to watch, from the big ones, but so far this has been the best. Dr. Brain was a terrific show. But let me know what you guys thought on not only the show as a whole, but this episode. Did you think it was like too action-packed? Were you hoping for a little bit more of a grounded thing? My only problem is that it's not even a problem. I'm just surprised that they went with that old villainy plot of just like eternal youth. You know, like that's so like old school sci-fi. I'm just surprised they went that route. But like, what other reason would an old man want with a brain of a young man, right? It's for that youth thing. So I thought they played on that well. Sawon was a great character. The actor did a phenomenal job. Everyone did. Jai did great. Dr. Myung did great. I thought Secretary Yoon being the one to try to kill Jai was great. The lieutenant, the cop, she did great. She had a little fight with that guy. Thought that was really well done. The blood splattered, like the blood work in the show was great. The gunshot, just a really well made show. Terrifically written thing. Like, it just goes to show you that, America doesn't do it best. Like, we have a lot of good stuff, America, right? But there's so much out there in the world that so many people aren't able to see or don't want to see because of subtitles or that language barrier. So once it's like what Bong Joon-ho said at the Oscars, right? Once you get over that 1-inch barrier, you could be open to a lot more, films and stuff like that. So let me know what you guys saw on the episode, what you guys think of the show. Please like this video if you guys have been enjoying it. Please subscribe if you're new, and I will see you on the next video. Have a great rest of the day.